podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
First there was the original.
I thought it might be nice for kids. Keep them off the street, you know.
Then the basic.
This is a simple game.
Then the first version of the advanced.
Good, clean, wholesome fun.
Now the hammer comes down. Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn second edition AD&D podcast ever.
Welcome back to THACO's Hammer. I'm DM Glen. It's very, very hot today, and with me is DM Brian.
Yes, it is very hot.
I'm melting, and also DM Corey. How you doing out there, Corey? Are you hot?
No, sir. I'm chilled with the air conditioning.
Oh, shut up. And we're here to present another show of 2E goodness while I trip all over myself. And we're going to tell you all about it in Hits and Crits.
What do you feel like doing tonight?
I don't know, Ange. What do you feel like doing?
Oh, we ought to do something at Saturday night. I don't want to go bowling like last Saturday. Oh, what do you feel like doing tonight?
I don't know, Ange. What do you feel like doing?
Hits and Crits.
Hits and Crits. What do we do this week, guys? Who wants to start? Should I start?
You should start.
I guess I should start. Well, I've been just folding character sheets for the upcoming Northwest Texas RPG Con, the pocket character sheets. I know this is going to come out afterwards, but hey, that's what I do. You know, I'm down to like 20 left. So that's how I've been spending my Memorial Day weekend, pretty much. That and reading game books. Mm-hmm. All our games got canceled for one reason or another, the Skype games and all that. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. How about you, Corey?
Been working on the sewer adventure that I have the guys running through. Just ran them through last night. Last Sunday, I took off the cleric's hand.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Nice.
Giant crocodile. And they decided, since more people showed up last night, that they quote unquote went back up to the surface and got some more help. So they went back down, and the thief and the cleric were looking for a little bit of revenge, and they had 2 fighters and an archer with them. Mm-hmm. About 10 rounds of combat later, I think 3 people were in the single-digit hit points, and somebody else was maimed, and they're like, okay, we're going to leave the alligators alone now.
That's a very, very wise decision. Wow.
So yeah, I ran them through the dungeon. We got through a lot.
You picked up a new mage, didn't you?
Yeah, a new guy from my job decided he wanted to come over and sit in. He hasn't played in a while, so he started a character in with the group, and it's a chrono mage. I will give a review of the full mage once I see him in action, but he got thrown into my campaign, and with the other people at my table, he ended up wasting all his spells offensively before he could actually get to his chrono magic. So I don't know how well it's going to work, but we'll see. The jury's still out there.
Sometimes those characters like that are the best, you know, the ones that are really desperate.
But it also comes down to the kind of player that's behind that character too.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's true. Brian, the heart of THACO's Hammer. Speaking of which, Brian, what you been doing?
I've been just basically still messing around with the core rules set. I'm converting characters like mad. Mm-hmm. I think I'm up to let's see, I'd say probably about 15 to 18 characters now.
Yeah,
you're a madman.
The funny thing is that once you learn the limitations of the software and then you just learn how to get around them, it works out just fine. Mm-hmm. And it also has been saving me time of having to not write everything down right away. Mm-hmm. So aside from that, and just been, just like you, Glenn, been reading some rule books and whatnot, and we're waiting on a certain person to get his game off the ground so we can play. Poking Corey's ribs.
Hey, it's not my fault you guys have too much stuff going on, too much stuff to do. I'm free in the evenings.
Oh,
By
well,
the way,
so am I, son.
By the way, let me plug this the character generator I showed you a couple days ago.
Oh, yeah.
There's a place called Molly's World. It's a website which honestly have not been updated for like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But it has an AD&D second edition character generator that is nice if you just need characters, like that. It doesn't even give you anything to print out except you can take a screenshot and that's about it. But it gives you all it starts out with all 6 methods of rolling dice. Excuse me, and it goes from there. It still works, and you should check it out. It's at www.mollyworld.com/ADD/CHARGEN.SHTML. Or if you just go to mollyworld.com, you can probably find it there.
Oh my goodness!
It's great if you need pre-gens.
Yes.
Or if you yeah.
No, I was just saying, it works really well. I like it.
Yeah, and or if a character is like you're at the game, oh, I died. You need a new one right away. Wait a minute. You like that? Okay, go.
Yeah, pow.
Yeah, it's really nice. Any emails?
None this week, which is kind of a surprise.
It's a slow week,
Yeah, everybody's more concerned about, the 3-day weekend. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah, and it's pretty much the start of not really the start, but it's going to while. But they're ramping up a convention season. I mean, I got one to go to, and everybody else is,
Yeah, you have a point. You definitely have a point, and
yeah,
so the good thing is that when you're out on the road, folks, when you go to those cons, when you're out there in the gaming room. Now, if you don't quite have the scratch to buy one of our wonderful THACO's Hammer t-shirts and, proclaim your allegiance to second edition proudly, tell people about us. Get them listening. We're on iTunes. We're on THACOshammer.info. We're on osrgaming.org. People, we want more people listening, and we want more opinions to come out about their particular take on second edition. So, yeah, our loyal listeners, please spread the word.
Hey, Corey.
What's going on?
Hey, don't you love it when he begs?
He does.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's for a good cause.
It's just endearing.
I know.
Look. That ain't begging. That's just me giving an impassioned plea. It's not begging because I'm not on my knees. Yes, that's right. Because we have to grow our show.
Did I say proselytizing or prostituting? No, proselytizing. Whoa. That's right.
Hey, okay. There's no money changed hands, so it's not prostitution.
Hey, I'm all for pimping the show. I don't care.
Mm-hmm. and you are part of the show, so I guess he's pimping.
And you could always write us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. And Northwest Texas RPG Con is coming up as of this recording of this show, and we're hoping afterwards you will hear the glorious tones of Bad Mike again.
Yes, the return of Bad Mike.
We hope.
We hope so.
Now, since we got a little more time here, I just wanted to talk about, I guess we should have gotten around to this near one of the first shows anyway, but second edition's rep in the gaming community.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to state right out how I feel about that.
Okay.
Well, first I'm going to state the facts. There's a way I see them. Is looking on Dragon's Foot, looking on other boards, listening to people on there. 2E is the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah.
And we're just talking about OSR gaming here. I mean, in the bigger world of gaming, fortunately, 3, 5, and 4 takes off a lot of heat from 2.
It's true.
But in OSR itself, 2E is going to be the redheaded stepchild, mainly because of the circumstances involving its birth.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say that is unjust. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if went down on a lich.
Wow.
This done or whatever the hell. There were a lot of good people behind this game.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not going to stop me from enjoying it, playing it, and pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've dug my hole, it's your turn, Brian.
Well, you've pretty much hit it on the head. There are those who play future and previous editions who feel, especially on the message board on the internet, where everybody is a genius or a tough guy, depending on what stance they decide to take. While sitting at their keyboard, they take their shots at second edition. It's like, look, I liked basic. I liked the Mensa rules. I liked 1E. I liked 2E. I love 2E as a matter of fact. I actually like playing in 3E. I wouldn't run a game in 3E, but I would.
I'm with you.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't run one, but I love playing in it. But the whole thing is that the role playing community is huge. Even though it's a minor compared to the amount of people who who listen to say Lady Gaga or something like that. The hot topic of the day, if you will. But the whole thing is that people, before you decide to take your veiled or not so veiled shots at second edition, do us all a favor. Don't. We've heard it before. We're tired of it.
Agreed.
We just don't want to be, we're not the redheaded stepchildren anymore. We're more like the middle child now. We're kind of
Marsha.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
That's exactly what I was going for, Glenn. Thank you. You have read my mind, sir. Thank you. But, let's just all try to be a little more civil. If you don't like it, fine, but you don't have to go sit at your keyboard while drool is running down your chin because you've got your opening to take whatever little shot you want to take. We don't want to hear it anymore.
And you know what? It's not like I don't enjoy, like you were saying. It's not like I don't enjoy other editions. I play basic.
Mm-hmm.
I'd play first if I had it. I mean, I cut my teeth on first.
Yep.
First edition. That doesn't take away, the other editions.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Corey? You got any 2 cents on this?
Well, I agree with you guys, and you're right. We are the middle child now. We don't mind now being pushed to the side and overlooked because all the hatred's going to 4th edition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, like we say when we're on here, we don't edition bash. We like it when our listeners and the audience doesn't edition bash either. That's not why we're here. We're here to promote 2nd edition. And if you don't like 2nd edition, you don't have to listen.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody who likes 2nd edition, you talk to people. You play D&D? Oh, yeah, I play D&D. Oh, yeah, what edition? I play 3rd. Oh, really? I play 2nd. Oh, God, THACO. What can you explain to me why you don't like THACO? Well, I can't, but I've heard that used a lot, so I thought I'd just jump on the bandwagon. Just let it go.
Please.
If you don't like it, say, okay, I don't prefer that. I like 3rd. Okay, great. That's fine. I like chocolate in my peanut butter. I like peanut butter in my jelly. Well, that's great. I can agree to disagree.
He likes peanut butter in his Elvis, yes.
There's a joke there, but I'm not going to take it. You're right, Corey.
I have no problem with someone telling me that they think 4th edition is a better game mechanics for the way they play D&D. Mm-hmm. I will support them 1,000% if that's what they say. Mm-hmm. If you're a 59-year-old neckbeard living in a little home by yourself with no wife, and all you do is you play 1st edition and Mensa and Classic, and that's what you prefer for your gaming style, you're welcome to it. And I know I'm stereotyping, and I'm not meaning to, but I'm giving you the extremes of the examples of gamers. Yeah. So, I don't care what edition you play, and I'm more than happy to support you in your version. You don't need to tell me that my version sucks. It's just, there's no reason to, with the genre being so small, the gaming community of D&D being so small and being so splintered as it is. If anything, we should all just call ourselves gamers or D&D players, regardless of the edition, and just let it go.
Yeah, and, play whatever you want. That's what I'm saying. Even 4th edition, play whatever you want. Whatever gets your jollies from gaming. I mean, we're not trying to get all touchy-feely here, okay?
No,
we can go, I don't want to go more, can we all get along type of thing, but at the same time, this is 2E, this is what we do. Yeah, This has got, what happened, in the history of TIA, that's what happened. We cannot change that. This is the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of good people worked on this game. Not a lot of not so great people, but a lot of good people worked on this game.
Yes, they did.
So just see it as the game. You're not supporting anybody else. You're not supporting some person's dementive way of how TSR is run anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I guess, we're going to get an email now, boy.
Yeah, we didn't get one before. We're certainly going to get one now.
Yeah, and if you need to go tell where those brickbats go, it's thacoshammer@gmail.com.
Right.
Or 405-806-0555. I can hardly wait to hear those.
Or throw up an angry thread post on osrgaming.org or on
purpleworm.org. Oh, hell, at Dragonsville. We don't care.
Yep.
We don't have to read Dragon. Yes, we do read Dragon's Foot. We do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. All right, enough teeth grinding here. Let's go in the book.
You ever go to school, stupid?
Yeah, and I come out the same way.
Is that your idea of an idea?
It's in the book.
It's in the book. Oh, you think that was a little too rough?
No.
No. Okay, good.
We could have been a lot worse if we wanted to.
Okay. We're going to talk about the optional 50-point damage rule in the DMG. And that is page, did you say what, 104? Is that the first printing?
I believe it is, because I actually pulled up the second printing, and
it's close. I went to 104 in the second printing, and it's close.
Actually, it is on 104 in the second one.
Well, son of a gun.
Second paragraph on the left.
Since you're talking, you can explain what that's all about.
Sure, I'd have no problem with that.
Okay.
Basically, I guess this is this came up from, I would probably say, house rules from the people who made it. Mm-hmm. Basically, what it is that it basically kind of simulates just massive shock trauma to the body, in that if a character takes 50 or more hit points of damage from a single attack, they have to save versus death, or they die instantly, no matter how many hit points they have. And I think in the I'd say since I've been playing first edition since it was 91, so in the 20 years I've been playing it, I think it's only come up maybe 3 times.
Really?
Yeah. There was one. The only one I can remember for sure was a Forgotten Realms game I was playing in, and we basically were earning our rep as dragon hunters, and we went into an ancient white dragon's lair, and we basically, I hate to use the word because it's just so online MMORPG, but we buffed up as much as we could. We put every contingency spell on us we could. We went in there, we started fighting, and my ranger, who had I think about 58 hit points at the time, she was right up front fighting, and the DM rolled his attacks on my ranger and rolled critical hits, and we did use critical hits at the time, and I think it was triple damage on a bite attack, and it was I think 54 hit points or something like that, and he was okay, make your save versus death. Fortunately, I made it. It left my ranger with only 4 hit points left, but
See, that's. Ugh. How about you, Corey? You ever had an occasion to use this?
As a matter of fact, probably about I'd say 22 hours ago.
yeah. Corey, do you ever use this? Oh, what day is this?
What time of day is this again?
Yeah. What time?
As a matter of fact, you have a bunch of people slogging through an old, decrepit, ruined sewer, and they come across a large wading pool with 2 giant crocodiles in it.
Oh,
they're doing 2 to 20 damage with the tail, and 3d8 damage with the bite. No, is that this regular croc or the large croc?
Oh, that's almost dinosaur territory, dude.
Yeah, that's what they're doing in the Monstrous Manual. Needless to say, we scored double damage with a crit, and essentially he took 52 points of damage. He had 47.
Oh, well, you don't have to roll then, do you?
No, you still do. And he did still roll. He failed his roll and died.
Basically got bit in half.
Yeah, he got bit in half. The cleric and the fighter carried part of him and took him back up to the surface. All of their money that they've collected from level 1 all the way to level 7 is now gone to bring him back.
Oh, they raised him? Really?
Nobody had diamonds. They're in an area where there are no diamonds to be found in this region. They are in a sandy, deserty area.
Oh, man.
So, needless to say, they brought him back, but essentially he survived his saving throw, but he was still below 0. So he took a dirt nap on death's door.
That's the point where I go, why bother? But if you do make it, you could be like what, comatose or something like that.
Yeah. Basically, if you're, I mean, this is probably something we should say for another podcast, but the rule is that if you get dropped below 0 and you get healed, you basically have to rest, for like a week or something like that before you can, resume adventuring activity. And I just find that to be just too inconveniencing. Especially if the party's in an adventure where time is critical, and just because one of their players basically almost got killed, I may just have to create a spell for that.
Well, what I've done is I allow that rule to go for cure light wounds. Anything higher than that, or if the cleric is above level 7, then that is negated because of how the power he's at. So if you have a low-level priest he's level 3 and he's casting Cure Light Wounds on your guy, it's not as powerful as a level 8 cleric casting, Cure Moderate or Cure Serious or even a Cure Light Wounds on you. So I usually bypass that to, as you said, to speed up the process of the game, so not everybody's having to rest for a full week and whatnot.
Right.
That's the kind of rule I would initiate when the party was, say, like mid levels. I'm not going to whip this on a first level party.
No, because they'd never make it out of first level at that point.
Wait, you're talking about death from massive damage, Glenn?
Yeah, the 50-point rule.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even begin to look at this thing until you're past 5th level.
Well, I agree. I mean, well, because the whole thing is that from 1st to say 4th level, unless everybody's playing fighters, they're not going to run into something that can inflict that kind of damage. Right. I mean, it's something that this was like a topic that I saw on one of the boards where, they're talking about, scaling monsters to the party. It's like, look, we talked about it. What am I thinking? But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things you have to look out for is that you cannot, if you've got like a 2nd level party and everybody's averaging right around, say, 10 hit points, you can't put a monster out there that has the possibility to inflict, say, like 24 or 30, because it's just too easy to drop a character with one attack. You know what I'm saying? Yep.
Another thing to look at when judging encounters, besides the hit dice, is the damage.
The damage they inflict. Absolutely.
Yeah. I know that's like, DM 101, but it needs to be said.
Mr. Giant Spider versus first characters.
A lot of people will take some of the printed materials and essentially go with, maybe a printed material that they're like, well, you guys don't have any characters for this level, so I'll try to run it, at your level, not realizing that you have to scale that damage down if you're not running what that module suggests or the Dragon Adventure, the Dungeon Adventure suggests.
You're
going to kill somebody.
Yeah, you are.
Easily.
Yeah, I've had to do it on the fly when I realized, oh, shoot.
Now, let me disclaimer this that Let me disclaimer this that if you're the kind of DM that enjoys that kind of death on it, then you're more than welcome to keep the stats where they are. But if you want to have your friends come back to your house and play again,
truly insidious DMs would bump it.
Yes, they would. Yeah, but at that point,
never done that.
Oh no, I'm sure we haven't. But yeah, I mean, that's just it's one of those things where, yeah, it may seem obvious. You know, I'm cutting you some slack here, Glenn, because of, you know, your previous story about it. But, you know, it may seem obvious, but when you're in the midst of it and, you know, the spells are flying and the swords are flashing through the air and things are dying left and right, it's kind of hard to remember that.
Yes, it is. It is. And, you know, I've gotten way beyond the point where I go, well, it's just a die.
Yeah.
I used to think that, believe it or not, when I first started DMing, oh, just one more die. Well, who cares? Yeah, it'll make a difference.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's another 8 points of damage right there, up to 8 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, folks, we'd love to hear some stories about this. THACOshammer@gmail.com, 405-806-055, OSR Gaming, purpleworm.org. And I don't know, shout it on the streets or something. No, just send us an email, send us a message on the board. Anyway.
Whether you're on either side of the screen, let us know what you think.
That is right. Let's go into rule 0.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Rule 0. One of the basic questions a DM has to figure out. Screen? What?
One of my favorites.
Screen or no screen? What do you think?
Well, this is kind of difficult because every game I've run, you know, since I started DMing, and oh my God, I think about like the first basic campaign I ran in. Oh God, just how terrible I was. But
are you slipping to another Brian's confession?
No, I'm skirting the.
Okay.
I'm on the outskirts. I'm skirting the edge. I'm not going to fall into that pit this week. No, thank you.
Right.
But I mean, I've always used a screen. First edition, which had that those multiple screens. You know, so
the multiple paneled screens.
Yeah,
yes. I remember that. Yes, and as a matter of fact, that's something I was talking about in Dragon's Foot a little while back, because when I start running, if I ever run a face-to-face game again, I'm gonna have to make a custom screen because my second edition screen is basically falling to pieces.
I'm already making one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
I got one. Well, I got one of those. Well, it's not really a screen, but I got one of. A long time ago, I bought one of those plastic. Reusable screens.
Right.
We slip papers in, and it's a three panel screen, and it's great. Just slip in the 3 panels. So I'm making 3, and it's landscape.
Mm-hmm.
So it's lower, and I'm just making. I'm trying to get the basic charge for 2E and just there. That's the kind of thing you need.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Corey.
Well, you know, you can go to Walmart or Kmart or any of the other stores and pick up those 3 pieces of foam core that are attached for kids to do their science projects on.
Cut those down, yeah.
If you cut them down and make 2 layers of it, turn a piece of paper sideways, like you're saying, landscape, and cut 2 to that height, they actually go together quite well, and that's what I use for mine. And then all I did is I went in and photocopied all the tables out of my players' handbooks and DMGs and taped them on the inside. Mm-hmm. The outside has the critical tables and the fumble tables for my players to read off to themselves. And
why don't I think of that? I mean, I go, you just photocopy. I go into Quark and start, doing the thing,
Yeah, I just photocopy, cut, and tape. That's all I need. You know why? You know why I did that? And I'll tell you why real quick before Brian says his. I did that because I have sloppy people at my table that have open drinks. And you know what? If this gets ruined, guess what? 55 cents, another science project board, some duct tape, and some Scotch tape and some printer paper, and I got a new one already done.
All right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, makes sense. Sense. So I guess all 3 of us are screen people.
Oh yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's not even so much that it's the you don't want your players to see what you're rolling, even though that's something.
It is for me.
Well,
I don't.
Well, I was trying to be nice, but okay, screw it. Yeah, we don't want our players to see what we're rolling, even if like say things have come to a halt and the players are arguing, or they're off on a side tangent, or they're busy, screwing around or whatever, nothing brings their attention more into focus than just rolling some dice behind a screen and just chuckling to yourself.
Yep.
That's DM Psychology 101.
I learned a long time. I mean, there were times when I didn't have a screen. When I was playing like Champions, there were times when I didn't have a screen.
Uh-huh.
And I learned to use a screen real fast when I had this one group who played, and I was playing at Caltech.
Uh-huh.
In the basement with Caltech grads. You do not want to run without a screen.
No, you're right about
in
that.
front of Caltech grads when you roll it and then they start working on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, screw it, I'm getting a champion screen.
Nothing's worse than a rules layer who are really good at math. Really good at math. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I usually inundate them with additional rules that they'll scoff at, but they can't refute. That's why, see, with my group, because they're so veteran, it's like they don't mind playing without a screen until about level 10, level 11.
Mm-hmm.
Then they start wanting the screen because they know if the party's doing great and it's a good game, I will fudge the rolls to have the heroes succeed. I mean, if there's a roll that, could kill the paladin and they're in the middle of a vampire invasion, I might fudge that roll that the vampire didn't do 75 points of damage. He only did 12.
Right.
Okay.
To keep the party going.
Right.
But, in the beginning, they're like, no, we like playing Iron Man. Leave the screen down. If you roll a 20 on us and kill us with a ballista to the forehead, then, you kill us with a ballista to the forehead.
That seems to encompass your games, Corey's games.
That's why I'm like,
ballista to the forehead, Corey's game.
Oh my
Solid
God.
shot. It's only a -4.
Well, to the head it's -8, but who's counting?
Right.
But my whole thing is that oh boy, yeah, that's the whole thing, and that's probably another topic we should use for another show, is the fudge or no fudge thing, because it was such a hot little topic of discussion on a couple of message boards that we frequent.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
go ahead.
I agree. I agree. It is an important discussion, because I think if you're a DM and you say you've never fudged a dice, you currently don't have any players.
I agree.
That's the way I look at it.
100%.
It is important. And that's one of the main reasons why I do use a screen. And even since I've adopted the laptop with the projector hanging from the ceiling, pointing down onto the table, and having Photoshop open and being able to move my maps that way with the minis, I still have a screen up on the side for the books and the dice. And I won't play without it, because, well, not only is the reference stuff right there in front of you, but you can fudge the dice if you need to, and I don't know.
As it stands, we actually have it on our list of topics in Rule 0.
Fudge or no fudge?
Yeah, cheating and fudging. Okay, let's cut this right now. Let's table it.
Notice when you're a player, it's cheating. When you're a DM, it's fudging.
Yeah.
I just thought
there's a difference between I'm going to fudge the dice to save the character's life for his own good, and I just rolled a 5. Shit, I need a 17. Hey, DM, I just rolled an 18 because I need to hit, because everybody's depending on me, because I want to feel important.
Yeah.
Two different things.
Okay, subject tabled for later time.
Yes, let's table that.
Back to screen. Yeah, that champions group taught me to have a screen. Plus, yeah, you were saying Caltech players who do math. Plus, champion is a heavily math based game.
Yeah, you need what? You need a degree in algebra, or
you shut up.
If he wasn't going to say it, I was.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, you're feeding into my bad experiences, so stop it.
Okay, Glenn. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
We're
fine.
good.
I'm fine. No, but back to screens.
Mm-hmm.
All right, store bought or homemade?
Well, the one I've had the same one that I bought in a store since I'd say probably 1992. That's why it's falling apart. It's almost 20 years old, and that's also something else that I wanted to talk about when we're talking about custom screens, is that now that I've made the decision I want to do a custom screen, now I have to figure out what I need to put on it. And that's where I kind of trip over myself. Yeah, that's where I trip over myself.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is the way I built my custom screen was I sat down with a small notepad behind. I think it was a 3x5 card. It doesn't matter. Point is, what I do is I talk about something, and somebody would go, "Oh, dude, what's a THACO for an 8th level thief?" And if I had to open up a book, I'd write down THACO table on that 3x5 card, which gave me a list of things I knew I was looking up during a game that I needed a quicker reference for.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
they were like,
no. By the way, that's 16.
Thanks, you nerd.
Thanks for that info. I'll log
Sorry.
that away.
Sorry.
But yeah, or somebody is like, I need my saving throws. I forgot to write them down. I'm a level 7 mage. Shit, I don't know what a level 7 mage's saving throws are, so I need to look them up.
I'll bet you Brian will tell you.
No, I can't. You want to know what? I probably could, but we'd have to sit here for 10 minutes while I rack my brain.
The other one important thing that I suggest for all DMs to have available, if you are a Magic heavy world, Forgotten Realms, etc., you want to go into the DM's guide. I don't care which copy you use, first, second point, second. I don't care what you use. Is the cost of a spell cast by a cleric or mage in town. That is one of the. I use that so much because my party will go. We're all playing fighters and thieves. Okay, no clerics and no mages. Nope. Oh, great. We just lost 3 people. Okay, back to town. Okay, how much does it cost for 3 regenerations and a heal?
Yeah.
I need this information. So if you have that
how
kind
much is the temple going to charge me to raise this guy?
Exactly.
Well,
it's stuff like that, or I'll put up a chart for pit trap types or trap types. Because if I'm doing a dungeon and it's a trap and I didn't feel like writing everything out ahead of time, and because I never used pre-done modules, I have stuff up there for me to help me DM. There's a list I think on the end of mine, which is like, it was in the first edition DM's guide. I know it was in the one with the wizard on the cover, the green robed wizard. Smells and objects in dungeon rooms.
Nice.
There was a whole list of the smells and the sounds and like things you found in a laboratory and stuff. I use that all the time when I'm describing a room to players.
See, to me, this is the main argument for making your own screen. You get the tables you think you need, or you want there.
Right.
Right now, I'm doing this. I mean, I've got a PDF of the 2E DM screen, and I was looking through it. What was it like? How many panels? It was like two.
It was 3.
It was 3 total: a center one and 2 foldouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, was it like 8?
Oh, you mean the first edition one? Just 2.
I'm talking about second edition.
The second edition one? No, it was only 2.
Yeah, the second printing second edition.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah.
What's on the cover? What's on the front of it?
Hold on, I
don't know.
Let me.
I don't know, but it had an obscene amount of flips on it. Sides. And I looked at it and I'm going, 3/4 of stuff I don't need.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
it was made of thinner card, and it had a red dragon, I think, in like a yellow cloudy kind of world.
and it was black bordered like the newer edition books.
Right. Yeah, and it opened, I think, 3 times on both sides.
And I looked at it and I'm going, I don't need hit locations and stuff.
Well, see, the thing is that they put that out to supplement the player's option books.
Right.
That's why it's so huge, because I remember I think I have it physically, as a matter of fact.
I mean, I'd love to have
pay for it.
They had an earlier version of that. I'd rather use that.
Yeah, that's the one that I always use, including the often maligned adventure Terrible Trouble at Tragador, which is funny because you know what? I'm going off on a small rant about it because everybody. Now, well, once my girlfriend stops running the dishwasher disposal, hold on, I'm turning my mic down slightly.
Oh, that's just an Odiug chewing.
Yeah.
What'd you just call me?
Dung heap. There, wear it.
Yeah.
I'm a good Gotha.
Well, you know what? Just to get off on a small tangent, that adventure gets so much venom and vitriol, and I'm like, I've run players through that module, and they like it. Of course, I took what was there and adapted it for my own needs, but the fact that, it's not that bad of an adventure. It's a small little, like, 12-page adventure that's included as a bonus with the screen, and it's not bad for what it is. And, I mean, over the years, once I started going on, like, message boards like Dragon's Foot, from, like, 2007, I think is when I started, everybody, when that subject came up, it's like, just everybody, the vitriol that came out against it was just unbelievable. I could, I sat back and I'm reading these posts and these responses, and I'm like, really?
Yeah,
It's not that bad.
I read it. I chuckled, and I put it to the side.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be something I'd run because I don't run the pre-mades, but it's. I don't think there's no need for all of the venom that came out over it.
I agree. Well, I couldn't agree more. And basically, it's just. I mean, to me, it's just, a cookie cutter adventure. Parties wandering, they find a town. Town is like all the men in it, I guess, are like kidnapped or whatever. And, they basically get hired to rescue the town's men from a bunch of drow. What's so funny?
I kept thinking they were hired to repopulate the town.
Hey.
Can I play in that adventure?
Yeah, that'd be fine with me. But, basically what happens is, there's some, the best part about it is one of the encounters they have is, somebody trying to pretend like he's a vampire.
Really?
Yes. It's actually kind of funny. But,
let me guess, levels 1 to 3?
So you're saying that
actually 5 to 8.
Wow.
The adventure has a goth in it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, complete with wooden fangs and everything else. They have a picture of them. It's funny. But, basically, you wander through the forest, you do some things, you do some other things, and then finally you find out that there's a tower with, where there's a bunch of drow. And, there's a lamia in there too. How about that? Wow. Cool. But anyway, my whole thing is that this module, as cookie cutter as it is, just draws so much heat and so many negative opinions about it. I'm like, why? I mean, it must be an anti-second edition thing. That's the only thing I can think of.
Either that, or how little modules, even generic modules they had for second edition. Mm-hmm. This is one of the few of them.
That's
few
true.
Of them.
Yeah.
So it's
You're
like,
right.
yeah. So I can understand your gripe, but I hear that this one was this. I lost track of my thought there. Anyway, screen or no screen? You like the screen, the first printing?
Yeah, the first printing's pretty good. There's only like a couple of things that were kind of missing, like and I know this is a bugaboo for you, Glenn, the monster initiative, because it was, they had modifiers according to their size.
Okay.
And
speed, yeah.
Yeah, they had the weapon speed and all the different things. I mean, that was okay. It's just there were a couple things in there that, that were either redundant or weren't necessary, in my opinion.
I'm sure I could have fixed it. But, anyway. Yeah. There's a little mini review right there.
Nice.
Should we put that on the show ideas?
Oh, yeah, the Lamia?
Yeah.
No, you talking about Lamia, or you're talking about the Tragador?
I
think you should do that as a DM's reg. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay.
Anyway, here's the hot topic of the time, folks, of the week. Screen or no screen, let us know. THACOshammer@gmail.com and the other places. Where are we going next?
Magic Fingers, I believe.
Magic Fingers? Yes.
Eeny, meeny, chili beanie, the spirits are about to speak.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Magic Fingers.
Magic Fingers, Cursed Weapons.
Yes.
Doggone it. How have you handled these? Have you handed any out? Of course, any DM worth his salt would hand out cursed weapons. Sure, they would.
Well, yeah, and if the party's not smart enough to, at the very least, cast Identify on the thing, then they deserve what they get.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But I'm thinking at the same time, you don't want. It's like the party afraid to go 10 feet without examining everything.
That's true.
They get a big hall. They're gonna sit there and this does this, this does that. So, well, first of all, that's expensive.
True.
And so you gotta understand as a player, you're gonna run across them, and there's gonna be times where you just don't know what something does, and you're just gonna it's clutch time. You know what I'm saying? And all right, give me the damn sword we just found. I'll take my chances. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I try not to put my players in that kind of a situation. I mean, I understand if it comes up, organically, but putting them in a situation where they have to use a sword they know nothing about, that's kind of rough. At least in my opinion.
I've seen it done. I have seen it done with DMs with smiles on their faces.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's when you get the overwhelming urge to punch him. It's like,
that's right.
Violence doesn't solve anything. You just get up from the table and leave, because I am a strong supporter of non-violence at the gaming table.
Thank you, Father Corey.
Yeah.
But
now, me personally,
wait a minute. Who are you, and what have you done with our Corey?
I only hurl D20s. Yes, they're the size of softballs, but I only hurl D20s.
not made of the dye material, because that would hurt a lot.
No, they are made of dye material.
Oh, God. Yeah,
I have 160 millimeter D20s that are resin.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're good to throw at people when they're being jerks at the table, or
By the way, cursed weapons. Do you have any general rules about your cursed weapons when you hand them out? How you hand them out? Any kind of tips and techniques on that?
Well, in my case, I usually throw them out there just as the curveball, just to kind of reinforce to the party that just because you find this wonderful looking sword in a treasure trove, that doesn't mean that you can use it. And that you should find out what this weapon is long before you swing it at somebody in combat. Because, especially when you're in a lower level party, because remove curse spells are rather expensive.
Okay.
Wouldn't you think?
Okay. Yeah, I would think so. What about you, Corey?
Do I think they're expensive, or how do I use my cursed weapon?
How do you? What's your tips on how to use cursed weapons?
Mine go out to the party as a magic sword. Magic item. It's, hey, you found a magical short sword. Detect magic. Yep, it's magic. Awesome. I pick it up and I put it on my sheath. Does it fit? It sure does. Great. A 3x5 Post-it note goes on the inside of my DM screen. Hey, see how I'm tying in all their segments in one show?
Yeah, there you go.
And it has all the information of the cursed weapon and who has it.
Okay.
And eventually I slowly start feeding into it, and they're like, well, how come I'm taking damage every time I swing this sword? How come my small left my toe is now green? They start realizing.
Slow reveal.
Yes. What a lot of my players don't realize is that I have gods, my own pantheon set up for my world. And there is a god of chaos, and his high priests and his magic using followers must create cursed magic items and populate them around the world.
Wow.
So you have mages and the clerics of the god of magic, making magic items. The elves make magic items. The dwarves make magic items. These humans make cursed magic items to balance out the chaos in the world. So they're random. They're dropped. They're locked away in a vault deep in forbidden dwarven ruins, and they're like, "Oh wow, this is behind a big, thick, giant steel riveted door. It must be pretty powerful magic. I think I'm going to use it and wield it."
And you deserve what you get the second you decide to do it.
Maybe it was locked in that room to begin with because no one else needed to touch it. Nah, it's magic. I'm going to use it. Okay. Sounds good. Here we go.
Well, I can see what kind of players you got, Corey. Oh, wow. You see, I mean, that's like adventuring 101. Unless the situation is critical and it's life or death, and usually that means it means the death of your character or people in your party, you don't do it. You just don't. You know?
In that vein, I find a lot of times my players, if it's below, like again, I'll say it. I said it again in the show. I'll say it. I said it before. I'll say it again.
Okay.
It depends on the player's level in my group. If they're between first and maybe seventh, and they find a cursed item, they'll use it till it starts hurting them. They don't care. But the moment they start getting attached to a higher level character and they're like, oh crap, my character's level 12. I now have, a small keep. I got some good stuff going on. I got some really good magic items. Oh crap, I just found a cursed rod and now I can't get rid of it. Now they start worrying about it. You know what I mean? So I usually save mine for the higher level campaigns. Because you give a third level fighter a cursed sword, he's ruined. You really can't, unless it's like a minor cursed item.
Yeah, like a -1 or a -2.
Yeah, something like that. But you give him a backbiter, or you give a backbiter to a third level thief, and he does backstab. You have a dead third level character.
True.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, I would debate that. I mean, with your experience, it's different, but I would think that players start getting attached to their characters. I'd say probably as early as third level. Maybe even for some, depending on what kind of role player they are or whatever, it could be as early as making second level. I mean, there's that quality to first level characters, even when you go out of your way to create one.
Right.
But, you start getting attached to it, or at least with me, I mean, I've got character concepts for days. And
a lot of my players do, and they really like their character. Like, I got a great idea for a character. I'm gonna make a priest of the water goddess, the goddess of the ocean, and she's gonna go around with the merchant vessels and da 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 da. Great concept, first level. They love them right off the bat. But if somebody sits down and like, oh damn, I forgot my character folder. I need a character for tonight.
Wow.
Hey, do you have my elven fighter? No, I don't. All right, I'll roll up another one real quick. It's almost to the point I've noticed, and I hate doing this, but it's true, and you can refute me if you want, all you listeners out there. But the more people play MMO games, I feel, my opinion, this is Corey's opinion, the less attached in the beginning they are to their characters.
I agree completely.
Because in an MMO, you can go, I don't like playing the Dwarven fighter. Delete. All right, let's make a new Elven fighter, Until that person makes a personality for that character and brings that character to life, they don't care if they get a cursed item because I'll make a new one.
I agree totally. I mean, that's part of the I hate to say because it makes us all sound old, but that's part of the culture of playing MMOs is that, if you're not into the character or the quote unquote character build or how you statted out the character or kitted up the character or whatever else you want to use, there's no attachment. I mean, I hate to say it because it sounds like we're, on our canes and with the tripping over our long white beards, but we're from the old school where it's like, if you are in a game that has a good amount of role play, say like if you want to put a number, I'd say like at the very least 30%, like 1/3, as opposed to 2/3 combat. And going up from there, you develop a character's personality, and you get attached to him.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been lucky in that aspect. I think the number of power gamers and game players who just want to say, "Oh, I'll just create a fighter," blah 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 blah, and they won't get into the role playing aspect of it. It's the ratio is really low. I've been lucky that way. But I mean, when you start getting attached to characters, all of a sudden it's like, bad things that happen to them. It's like, oh crap, You know what I mean?
Remember, cursed weapons are just scratching the surface of cursed items, which is just scratching the surface of all the other crap that can kill them.
I agree 100%.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where, you know, but getting back to the subject of cursed weapons, I mean, it's one of those things where, it's, at least all the players I've played with have been pretty much veterans. They've never done that. They don't automatically start using a weapon unless it's a dire situation. They'll take that. They'll put it in a sack. They'll put it in their backpack. They'll belt it to them, and they'll just wait until they get back to town and see if they can find out what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but in the case of like cursed swords and things like that, I mean, it's one of those things where it's not so much the technical side of it or the technical side of it where it's just like a -1 to hit and damage. It's the fact that once you draw that thing in a combat situation, all of a sudden you cannot put it away. That can't be played up enough. To where it's always going to be in your hand, no matter what you're doing. That could get you into all kinds of trouble, when you're walking around town.
Trying to climb a rope.
Yeah, trying to climb a rope. I mean, God forbid what you should do if your character tries to go to a fest hall. But anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and the whole thing is that that's also another instance where it turns into an adventure hook, because say you're a bunch of 3rd level characters, your cleric is not strong enough to cast remove curse, which I think is a 3rd level cleric spell if I'm not it's either 3rd or 4th, but they're not high enough in level to cast it. So what do? You have to go to a church of a particular faith that's basic, a good faith if your character's all good in alignment, and then you have to talk to one of their priests saying, okay, we have this item, it's cursed, we can't get rid of it, can you help us? Sure, we can help you, and it will cost this much, or you can do us a favor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it starts.
Yeah,
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Cursed weapons, how you guys handle it? THACOshammer@gmail.com and all the other fun-loving plations. We want to hear about cursed weapons. We might even, you give us specs, we might even crib a couple. We should talk about them on the air. Mm-hmm. Somebody sends an email about like a cursed sword or axe or something like that. That'd be great to distribute that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. We got DM's Rag next.
Well, that's quite a story.
I think it would be fun to run a newspaper.
And here it comes, right over the old plate.
The DM's Rag.
DM's Rag, the World Builder's Guide. Okay, Brian, your point on this. What is it? What, who wrote it? All that kind of stuff.
Okay, this is the stock number is 9532. This was written by Richard Baker, which is he's one of the more prolific writers for 2nd edition. Basically, it takes you and when you want to actually make a campaign world of your own, and you've been wanting to do this, but you don't quite know the ins and outs of how to do it. This takes you from beginning to end, starting from what kind of world is this? How big is the world? Where's all the land? Where's all the oceans, the water, the rivers, the lakes, etc. And it goes all the way through to the end where you're actually thinking about, doing your world history and, the mythology and all things like that. Even has technology levels. I'm looking for that scale. Yeah, it has a nice scale to it. I'm looking for that scale right now, but I mean, it's like it goes from like, let's say prehistoric times all the way up to like almost science fiction levels of technology.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be handy not just for D&D.
Oh yeah.
Well, it'd be handy for Spelljammer
or Star Wars. or whatever you want to do.
Any other sci-fi or any kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now where does this fit in the timeline of second edition? When was this published?
This was published in 1996.
So that's near the end.
I'd say that's probably I'd probably say in the middle towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because,
3/4 mark.
Yeah, about there, because second edition was 1989 to 1999. 10-year run. So yeah, this is in the latter third. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember they did a Dungeon Builder's Guide.
Yes, and
this is kind of a sequel to it.
Yes, as a matter of fact, that's exactly what it is. Okay. I have both of these. I've tinkered around with writing my own campaign, but unfortunately, by the time this came out and I was more interested in doing it, I'd already put so much blood, sweat, and tears into my Mystara campaign that I just haven't really had the inclination to do it.
Right. Now, I know that since then, there have been other guides like this from different companies, especially when it got into 3.5, that kind of thing. Yep. Ultimate Toolbox, of course. And, yeah, couldn't get away without mentioning that one.
No.
And even TSR, I think, turned out maybe one other thing. And there's also like Central Casting Dungeons, things like this. But this was like one of the first, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd say it's one of the first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one I can think of is the first edition one that they did back in, like, I want to say...
Oh, with all the sheets.
Yes, the one, I think they did it like in 85 or 86 maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to look it up, but that's the first one I remember. But this one is a lot more in depth.
I was a little less than impressed about that.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like a lot of flash and.
Well, this one goes way more in depth. I mean, all the way. It goes from planetary situations and setups all the way down to societies and how your world is set up. I mean, it goes way more in depth than the first edition one did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first one I saw all these sheets. Well, this is nice for a DM who kind of knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to give a shout out real quick to GMA Glenn Michael Angus, who did the interior illustrations. I love his ink artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to bring that up.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. So, the one I'm looking at is the knight on his horse with a lance, and he's trying to basically run through somebody who's pointing an arquebus at him.
Yes.
Arquebus to the head. Yes, it's a Corey picture.
Mm-hmm.
World Builder's Guide. Okay, so it's established in nice third. This basically takes you from step 1 all the way up?
And allows you to go either way also. You can either go big down to small, or you can start small and go big.
You can go top down or bottom up.
Yep.
Right.
Or the way I like to do it, sideways.
Yes.
That's a little personal, isn't it? Anyway,
hey.
Sorry.
You're talking about wine. Oh, no.
I apologize.
That's okay. But yeah, this still is worth looking at. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff like that, but this one's still, one of the best.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned.
I think it is. I mean, if I really got a wild hair up my backside and decided I want to build a world from scratch, and because I've got tons of ideas about that in my head anyway. It's just I put them in a file cabinet in the back of my mind and leave them there.
Tell me about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, some people have file cabinets. Some people have entire libraries. We'll leave it at that.
I have file cabinets, but my drawers are rusted shut.
Well, you're the one.
I want to talk about your underwear.
Oh, jeez. Wow. Corey, you're the one who runs a custom-built world that you built from scratch.
Well, that's because I emptied out the drawers in my head before they rusted shut.
There you go.
Did you need any help for that, though? I mean, aside from your rusted drawers.
I will say this. For my part in this segment, I did not use this book when I made Fade, my kingdom, my world. I saw this post-creation, and I pulled out a lot of great information out of this book to the point where the current version of my world campaign guide up online is 1.0, and I'm currently finishing 2.0 because of the changes I found in this book.
Awesome.
Wow.
I've been doing some rewriting. I've been looking at the way that they do the land masses, the continents, the geography, and just some of the little snippets that you can read through here. That's usually in gold in the book. They're highlighted yellow. They're just examples of some of the sections that they're talking about. But it comes up with so many good points about the logistics of where humans would live, and how you would populate a world and set it up for the geography.
Yes.
And it made me change my world a little bit because I was not doing it, in my opinion, logically, I guess.
Well,
holy.
But,
I mean, if it get you to start, coming up with changes and stuff, that's something.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the better parts about this book is how they went into depth about the basically the social aspects of particular regions that you decide to do. Like, if you wanted to do a kingdom, or if you wanted to do, like, say, a theocracy, or a magocracy, or a matriarchy, or things like that. I mean, they have, little examples and explanations about what these particular types of government are, how they do things. And then they go a little further into, like, the actual social alignments of a particular region. About how they would, how they do things from day to day. Like a lawful good society would be like, just really nice people. They, they follow the rules. They are always looking to help each other out, and things like that. And going through, like say a neutral good society, which would be, they see equally the rule of law and the rule of the individual as having equal merit, as long as nothing, as long as nothing harmful is being done, you can go either way. Right. So I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's that kind of in-depth thing that, if, like I said, as a matter of fact, one of the things that I wanted to do, one of the notes I just pulled from the deepest recesses of my mind, was I wanted to actually go back through my own Mystara campaign and do what Corey's doing. And that means, just going through each region and just, putting a little bit extra about how things are done from day to day, say, like in the Duchy of Karamakos, as compared to, like, their neighbors to the north, the Republic of Darrican. And things like that. And just so that I can have everything in one place, and I don't have to
shuffle through papers to find the information you need.
Always consulting gazetteers, exactly.
It also helps, too, that it adds more as you're describing the areas to your players. It gives more life. One of the examples I can come up with is I have a kingdom that I had no idea what I was going to do with on my world. I was like, well, it's another kingdom. It's a space that I thought would be cool for a kingdom. The way I'd set up the geography was great. I said, logically, there's 3 giant rivers that flow into something akin to the Mississippi that flows down into the ocean. Right. It's a great spot that there would be life there, And I was like, well, what could I do? The area around it, though, was arid and rocky. So I was like, I started looking through this World Builder's Guide, and I noticed one of the sociologies and kingdoms was unusual laws. Well, in that kingdom, magic is forbidden.
Oh, okay.
And essentially they go off of priest spells only. The gods are the only ones who are powerful enough and should hold magic.
Wow.
So that's something that I never had in there, that I was like, oh, it's another kingdom. So my players would come over and go, hey, what's this kingdom about? I'm like, I don't know, it's another kingdom. Now I can give them a detail about it because I was in this book and I saw on page 30, they're like, hey, different kingdoms and sociologies, unusual organization, disorder, unusual laws. Hey, unusual laws. For some reason, society is concerned with laws designed to limit or restrict certain classes, races, or practices. I was like, hey, cool. A whole kingdom that outlaws magic.
Right.
So you can use this book to add, if you've already had, all you listeners out there, if you have a world that you've already made, looking through this will give you some ideas maybe to spruce up some of your old tired kingdoms.
Oh, yeah. And if you got them, you tell us about them. THACOshammer@gmail.com. And what's our number?
Our number? Our number?
We haven't talked about that yet much.
Oh, well, that's numbers 405-806-0555.
Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the air. Or if you want to tell us about your World Builder's Guide foibles, or your worlds even, more than happy to talk about it on the air and read your email. Well, we're going to go into a new one now. 99% perspiration.
Why don't we just get some carnations and a beer stein and just put them right up here?
Geez, Tolkien couldn't follow this plot.
Somebody doesn't share your opinion.
99% perspiration.
99% perspiration. We haven't. This is a new section. This is a new segment of the show, and this is basically dealing with scenarios, campaign ideas, and reviews. I mean, we've got DM's Rag. That's mostly for published reviews and things in magazines. This is for people's, like you out there, your plot, your campaigns, and how you deal with things in your campaign. Like, for instance, today we're going to do DMing in a strange environment such as underwater or volcanoes, astral planes, things like that, the abyss, How do you deal with PCs going through these areas?
Right.
Right.
Okay. I mean, it first of all, it requires a dose of common sense. I mean, I was thinking about this about a week ago. I was thinking about, doing an adventure that's almost completely underwater. I was doing the inspiration came from I was doing I was rewriting a character that was an NPC to one of the characters I used to run back in the day. She basically. It's like this kind of halfway tragic relationship between the character and a siren. And every so often they have a wonderful relationship, but every so often the call of the sea is too much for her and she has to leave. And I was thinking about, what if, while the two of them were separated, that she got in some sort of trouble and needed some help, and her husband couldn't come and rescue her. And, of course, the husband being a retired adventurer himself, he would know. Go hire some adventurers that are capable, are of decent, or at least partially decent, and hire them to go and help her out. So I was thinking, okay, first thing is that, the most important thing is that the PCs need a way to breathe underwater.
That's the first problem.
Yeah, that's the first issue. And, so, I mean, that's like the first thing, because, everybody are air breathers. And, of course, once you go in the water, if you stay in too long, you drown and die, So, that's the first thing, finding a way to overcome that. And then the second one is that they're not going to be as effective underwater in combat as they would be above in the air,
or they would have to compensate for it somehow.
Yes, with magic and things like that. And that was the second thing I need to think of. And I mean, basically what it is that if you're underwater, you have to overcome these obstacles first, and then of course common sense things like trying to What?
No. I was going to say, if I was somebody who was sending adventurers, I'm the DM sending adventurers down under the water like that. If he was rich enough, I would give them two things: a way to breathe underwater, a helm of, what do they call them, underwater breathing or something like that.
Underwater action,
and a ring of free action.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are the two main things you need for going underwater.
I agree completely. Unless you want to go completely, kind of off the wall and give them like an apparatus of Qualish. Do you remember that? Do you remember that item?
No.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Corey knows what I'm getting. But to explain really quickly, an apparatus of Qualish was like this. Is basically sort of like a deep sea submersible, but it was, of course, it was magical instead of being scientific.
Right.
And you could go down as far as I think 500 feet, 1,000 feet.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and it had these appendages. It was exactly like a deep sea submersible. You had these arms that you could fight with or extract things and things like that. It was awesome.
I keep seeing Dr. Quest down there in the diving bell.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it is.
Pretty much.
That's what it is. I mean, so like I said, you have to come up with these ways for, the party to survive in this kind of environment, and it would only extend to different environments, like in the description saying, like the volcanic one, you're going to need.
And make sure the fire mage stays home for those
yeah, because basically, I was gonna say, try and cast a fireball into water, it's just not gonna work. And and that's the other thing that we should discuss, is that these different environments affect the PC's magic differently. I mean, especially once you start getting into the abyss and the outer planes. That's something that I don't think a lot of people have fully enforced in some of the games at least in some of the games I've played in. It's just sort of like, you go to this plane, blah 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 blah, and you fight this and you do that and you do this, and it's just they didn't give a second thought to all the
location of where they're at.
Exactly, and the restrictions that are inflicted on them because of that area.
And heavily armored characters will be at a disadvantage underwater, but that also goes for the other environments too, like say the abyss.
Right.
You're gonna like roast in that thing, which makes you make constitution checks, etc., etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
But
go ahead.
I'll chime in and say the campaign that I've been running, I ran last week with a bunch from my group. They're in a sewers, and it's a sewer that is still somewhat in use. But the problem is the flow has been staunched in a bunch of places.
Ugh.
So it's backed up.
Yeah.
So I have them rolling at regular intervals, saving throws that if they fail, debilitates their character.
Yeah, it removes all their hair.
That exfoliates, no.
but that would be a good thing. But go ahead, Corey. I'm sorry.
But no, it's okay. I'm just saying that the sewers that they're in, if they fail their save, it debilitates them by lowering their attack and their damage bonuses to the point where they're too busy retching and dry heaving, and their eyes are burning, and they're getting trench foot to the point where they can't fight effectively. Right. And you've got people who are fighters going down there going, well, with my gauntlets of ogre power and my strength, I'm running a +4, +6. I'm like, okay, you've been down here for about 5.5 hours now. How many minuses do you have? Well, I got a -4, -3. Or -4, -4. Okay, so you get no bonus to hit and only +2 damage now because you're too busy yakking, and every time you see something float by in the sewer, you throw up on the elf. So you got to take into account the point I'm making. You got to take into account the environment that you're playing in, and you just can't go, okay, so you're in the abyss. Okay, so you're walking down the road.
Right.
Wait, hold on. What?
Yeah.
Which proves one thing, folks. Freakazoid was right. I hate poo gas.
I don't know anybody who likes it aside from Odiugs. But anyway,
that's right. I'll leave Dunkeep out of this.
Let's.
Well, you could almost treat the sewer as a strange environment in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go too far. What about something like the astral plane?
There's a reason why my campaigns hardly ever go extra planar, and because to me it's like I have to remember or keep in mind in some way or another that I'd say probably about 40% of the player's spells don't work, or they work really differently. They work really, really badly. Yeah. And I mean, if going, and the whole thing is like the further removed you are from the prime material, the worse it gets. And it's just to me, it's like, okay, if it's necessary for my campaign, like Corey, do you remember do you know the module for Duty and Deity, a Forgotten Realms one?
Yes.
Yeah, the one where the party's basically kind of hired on to resurrect Joaquin.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, and that requires you going extra planar in order for it to happen.
Correct.
And that's it cannot be stressed enough just how different everything the party does is lessened in efficacy. Is that how you pronounce it?
Efficiency.
Oh, efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Some F word. But anyway,
But not the F word.
No, not the. I said
we're
some.
A family
yes.
podcast here.
It's F for family.
Yeah. Well, yes. So says the guy who's already cursed twice. But anyway, but
I have not.
Yes, you did actually. But I'm not keeping score. I really am. I'm really not.
You got
I really am. I'm really not. Which one is it?
I'm not. I swear to God, I'm not. I swear.
Now you swore twice.
Brian, if I shuffle all through this, I'll find a point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I mean, what I'm saying is that in a way, now that I think about it, it's kind of like how players went through Q1 back in the day, and their magic items are going to be lessened in efficiency. A lot of their spells aren't going to work because I think you actually have to go into the abyss and get Joaquin out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And when you are in, that's just one of the problems. The other problem is that basically when you are in a place such as the abyss, or the lower planes, let's just use it as a whole, mostly everything in there is going to want to kill or enslave you. And that can't be played up enough either. The other thing is that, because just getting from where you are to the location you need to go to on that plane, that can take an extremely long amount of time, and it just becomes a war of attrition.
Right.
Because you're just walking along. Oh, let's see, a group of Type 1 demons, Frox, if you will, they see you and they're like, they want to kill you, they want to eat you. So you got to fight them off. Then all of a sudden, just little minor demons and stuff like that start coming out, and they want to take a bite out of you because they're like, it's like the old Bugs Bunny cartoon, fresh meat.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty much taking on all comers.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say. I was just going to say as a closer is that, they should. That's why you should never take your players extra planar until they're at least, I'd say probably at the very minimum, like 8th or 9th level.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Think about oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just to give them, just a relatively even shot to survive it.
The thing about plane, I never really cared for planar travel because of the way most DMs run it. Like I said, they don't take into consideration the environment. Mm-hmm. I remember everybody's read through the first edition DMG, the Planes of Existence.
Yes.
Right. Which is, I always find fascinating, the positive material plane.
Mm-hmm.
Because I found out that you can go there and feel really good. If you're hurt, you'll be healed almost instantly. Mm-hmm. But basically, energies build up because it's a positive material plane. Energies can build up where you feel so good you explode.
Yeah.
Oh, and so my roommate came to the idea, says, we ever go to the positive material plane, I'm going to take a wounded orc with me. So when the orc explodes, I leave.
No, that's the funny part.
That's kind of like the canary in the coal mine,
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing they say about that, because the positive material plane is basically the closer I forget where it is, but there's like a source of it. But the closer you get to the source, the better you feel, and the more
energy you have.
Yeah, exactly. The more you get closer to your maximum potential as a being, and things like that. And basically, once you get too close to it, you go automatically to like your highest, degree of evolution, and then you're gone.
Right. It sounds like remember with the bad guys like General Zod, who would try and drain all Superman's power. I can't handle it. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Overload.
Yeah.
It's basically overload. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, wow, what an interesting way to go.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's probably the best way to go, actually.
You don't see that in a game every day.
Mm-mm.
What about you, Corey? You any kind of environments you stuck them into, or
well, besides the sewer that I just talked about earlier?
Yeah, besides the sewer. I mean,
well, yeah, I've taken people underwater, done underwater stuff. To me, an underwater adventure is kind of like a seagoing adventure. For the DM, there's just too much book work.
Yeah.
To make sure you're keeping track of the wizard's water breathing, to make sure you're keeping track of verticals and where the placement is. Plus, if you're like me and you do use miniatures and your players are more visual than imagination driven, and they like the minis, it's hard to do a vertical access if somebody's floating underwater above somebody else. You got to go get a glass out of the kitchen because it's see-through, and then you can put the mini on top of the glass, and it's just...
You're forced to DM in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I start turning my D&D map into that chess game from Star Trek, with all the different levels.
See, that wouldn't bother me because I played enough Champions where it's like you put the okay, I'm flying.
Right.
Yeah.
You move the glass. But I can understand that.
I've taken people through the abyss. I have done the Hell module.
Oh, Paladin in Hell? Really?
No, not that one. Oh. This was, I think might be a Judges Guild.
Oh, you're talking about
Inferno.
Yeah, Inferno. I have a couple of copies of that. Yeah.
Cool.
Like the first 4 levels of Hell.
Yep, I run through that. It's funny when they're, I make their combustible, normal, mundane items burst into flames because, well, you're walking through hell.
Yeah, basically.
And I've taken people through the abyss. I've never done the astral plane because I personally, like Brian, I just kind of stay away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can do a lot more freaky stuff to people in an abandoned town in the middle of October at night than you can in the abyss.
Oh, yeah.
There's no reason to take somebody to the abyss if you can
scare them.
Yeah, to do the same, to get the same effect of them being alone in a town that for some reason is now deserted for 20 plus years at night in October. I just don't see going off the prime material unless it's like an earth shatter or a realm shattering event or what have you.
I agree.
And I don't do those that often, so.
Right. Yeah, I haven't had a game get that high up in level that it starts going that way. Because because the typical thing is that the players start to get bored with the mundane stuff probably about level 10, and then the DM it's like they almost have to put the onus on the DM to say, hey, come up with something that challenges us, or let's just call it a day and let's just start over with another game.
Right.
And my whole thing is that I basically will. As long as the game is fun for my players, I will go as high up in level as need be.
Really?
Yeah, the highest character I think I've ever run in a 2nd edition game is probably 9th. As a matter of fact, yeah, it would be 9th. But my whole thing is that if they like playing their characters and they're happy with how their character's going on, and they're happy with the adventures I put them out on, I'll go until
sky's the limit.
Exactly, until my hands can't roll dice anymore.
Right.
Okay, I can see that. I'm sure you guys have some strange environments out there. You know who I'm talking to. You guys right there is listening. Send it to us at thacoshammer@gmail.com.
DMs in space.
In space. That's a good title for this show. THACO's Hammer in space.
There you go.
Anyway, we're come to the end of another one.
One more in the can.
Foot number was
17, ladies and gentlemen.
17, putting it to bed, boy.
That's
right. Okay, well, I guess it's time to go grab our dice and all that kind of stuff. So, Corey, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye, everyone.
How about you, Brian?
Until next time, farewell.
Oh, yeah, Flights of Angels, sing thee to thy rest. Okay. And for me, DM Glen, I'll catch you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.
Good night.
Here we go. Good night.
Later.
Bye. THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at thacoshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the Second Edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.